Bum ba da 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 da. Oh yeah. All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we're back talking comics on the channel. And today we're talking about Justice League Infinity #2. Why not #1? Well, I picked up issue #1 kind of on a lark. I thought, well, I do really enjoy the Batman The Adventures Continues, the continuing saga of the animated series, and since it's from, Paul Dini's a part of this, and I like the animation style, and I like that world, and I like to see their different takes on storylines that happen in the comics that they've done, like they were handling Deathstroke and Jason Todd, and I thought, and I'm really enjoying it. I really am. In fact, I'm kind of enjoying it more than the flagship titles because they're fun and they're not as dour, I should say, as like some of the books are feeling like right now, especially in the current Batman world of like Infinite Frontier and watching like like there's just a lot of stuff going on in DC that I'm just not a really big fan of right now. Not that it's all bad. So when I picked up Justice League Infinity and found this is, I figured by the cover, right, that this was a take on, the Justice League, the animated series, Justice League Unlimited, and I was absolutely right, and I really like the Justice League cartoon. We were reviewing it on the channel. We'll be going back to reviewing it. Same with the Batman, the animated series. I got to get some things figured out for both of those videos. But I am enjoying this just as much as I am the animated series books, and I'm enjoying it more than I ever really did reading the most recent stuff on Justice League. I stopped reading Justice League probably about a year ago during the whole God, I don't even remember this story anymore. Like all the players in the story, but it was right before like the Batman Who Laughs and death metal and all that. It dealt with the worlds all break. The worlds are always breaking in DC. I want to say it's Eternia or something. Perpetua and Lex doing his thing. It was like the year of the villain, and I just stopped liking it. Even though it was written by people I liked, I just wasn't It was just too much. And I started like trying to figure out like what's all happening with continuity. That was bugging me. And so this just is maybe I'm needing something a little simpler, but Justice League Infinity is giving me what I want. And so is Chip Zdarsky's Last Ride, which I have not read the newest issue. Otherwise, I might be making a review for that too. And seeing as how I'm more of a Marvel guy than DC guy, I'm really happy that I'm reading this book. This is a Justice League story that I really like. And what we're dealing with here is the android Amazo. Now, he's not just from the animated series, of course, but like the animated series version left Earth and he's out to find himself, and his journey to find himself leads him down some crazy paths that disrupt the entire universe, or at least this universe, this DC universe, and in unexpected ways, in fun ways, and in ways that I really wish I could see for the animated series. But since we don't have that anymore, this is that extension, and I can hear the voices of the characters in my head from all the actors that were on Justice League, just like with Batman the Adventures Continue or with Batman 89. I have some context. I like to be able to play with that in my head, and so it's just a lot of fun, and it's not a chore, and I don't have to like worry about where it's gonna be in 20 years. Like where's this story gonna go long term? I know that these are gonna have little arcs that aren't gonna have a major effect in canon, things like that. Plus, I've always just really liked these versions of the characters in the animated series. Batman is like super boss. Superman is my favorite version of Superman on the animated series. Wonder Woman and Flash. All these guys. John Jones and John Stewart. I've really grown to really like these characters. This version of them anyway. And so what we have here is, we have this like explanation of Amazo, what he's done, and what he ends up doing is Amazo is looking, for all his travels and his encounters, something inside Amazo remained empty and unfulfilled. And he was in search of himself. And he found himself in the mirrored room. And it's like this construct. And eventually it like cracks and breaks. And all of this is Superman narrating. So I also really like that. Him telling this story in the past tense. And what ends up happening is Superman ends up switching places, switching universes, and ends up in this place. And the Omni-Man, or the Overman, from on the cover here, that you remember from, he was in Justice League. The Superman, the animated series, Brave New Metropolis, and him and Superman switch places. Now, I would love to hear what some of the reviews are saying about this, because this gets pretty intense as far as talking about they're talking about the world, and it is very eerily similar to what is going on in our world today. And I think that the people who don't like what's going on today will really like what's going on in this book. The people who don't, the people who find fault with this story, they're just going to go, oh, I don't like the modern political stories. And what that is code for is they don't like being made fun of for their beliefs, their fascist fucking beliefs. And yes, this review might be taking a bit of a turn because I do happen to like stories that are covering stuff from today, things that correlate. I want kids to read this book. I want kids to understand how Superman would see our world. What would Superman have to say about how people are behaving in our world? And then people, those people that don't that want to just quietly hide their secret fascism and their secret bigotry and their secret hatred for anything that's not, part of their plan, is usually white people, white men, Karens. I don't want to dig myself. I don't care if I dig myself a hole in this. But Superman finds this world, and he sees on the banner behind me an image that seemed a corruption of the very symbol I wore on my chest, which looks like Overman's symbol could be seen as like a lightning, but it's really like an SS, right? At first I thought I'd been teleported across the United States, since, to my disgust, loathsome gatherings like these were becoming more and more common in my adopted country. And you see like these people protesting. One sign says "Stop the Hate," the other side says "Overman Forever." It's not too hard to draw the correlation between what's going on in our world with people who still believe in the former president, and the way that those people found it easy to come out with their racist bigotry when you have a racist bigot as a president spouting out hate and fear, and it just opened the floodgates in this country to the real war, which is like the war on intellectualism, the war on decency, the war on just about everything. And he's like, I watched the mob turn, howling like a pack of wolves ready to devour a small group of anti-fascist protesters, as if they were somehow the cause of my sudden appearance, and I am ashamed to admit I howled right back at them. And so Superman's like, what is wrong with you people? Have you all lost your... And he says, but then I stopped, realizing I wasn't facing a horde of supervillains or mercenaries. No, these were ordinary people who'd been warped by a constant barrage of distortion and lies. Now, if you're one of those people who reads that and thinks that they're talking about, like, liberals, they're not. They're talking about you, you nutty... Gotta rein it back. Because so Superman basically is turning the other cheek. And he's trying to talk to people like, look, man, I don't know what happened to you all. Like, what happened in your lives to drive you to this? I don't know your struggles, your pain, but I do know this. There's no person alive, myself included, who hasn't suffered. But the remedy for our suffering isn't lashing out, making others feel less than, so that we can feel superior. And see, he's better than me at this moment, right? The writing in this, the way Superman's being, is the way that I should be. But I'm just as guilty sometimes as everybody else, where I just want to be pissed off at everybody that's on the other side of this, because it's so maddeningly frustrating that you want to lash out. You want to tell people exactly what you think of them and their bigotry and their hatred, and you want to just, we're ready to explode on each other. And we have Superman here who's almost caught up in it and is able to calm down and try to reach people the way Superman should. And it just like, I found myself kind of stopped in my own tracks. And he ends up like coming across like this brainiac robot. And we find out that Vandal Savage is in, control of this world, because Vandal Savage would be the perfect kind of villain for this type of world. And but then he immediately goes to like worried about what's going on with like how Lois is handling the person that switched places with him. And I mean, he's grabbing her, answer me, you witch, throwing her around. And him saying, that this is just a fresh world to conquer. You're Superman, he's on his world. And she tries to hit him with like a kryptonite gun, but it doesn't work. But he doesn't kill her either. So meanwhile, we have John, who's been trying to find peace in his life because of all the battles and everything that's been going on. He's taken a new identity and he's just trying to find peace. But then people start disappearing, which so basically what it means is that the cracked mirrors situation, it didn't just take Superman, it's taking people all over the place and switching them out with other people. So John is forced to come out and return to the fight, very unwillingly. But he does understand the threat is bigger than his search for inner peace. So Superman ends up getting into, a fight, seeing his world, seeing the Nazis basically, the fascists take over. And talking about their advanced technology. I love how their symbolism, like they never question, never doubt, follow. This isn't the same Vandal Savage that we've always seen, but it's a version of him. And Clark gets taken by these superheroes, or not superheroes, but in this world they would be considered heroes. But in his world, the villains are the heroes. And you've got freaking Doomsday and Metallo and Zod, and they're the freedom fighters in this world. Meanwhile, the Justice League is fighting Overman, and finally John shows up and's like, enough of this. Enough. And he goes inside Overman's head. And he's like, He tore through his Overman's psyche without hesitation, and what I saw, he told me later, was enough to break my heart. Years ago, an innocent child, a survivor Superman, like you, of a doomed planet, but unlike you, he landed in the heart of a nightmare, raised, exploited by a fascist dictator named Vandal Savage. And, you know, he fell in love with Lois Lane, but Lois Lane was in love with freedom more than she was in love with Overman. And Overman, they highlight the word noose. Overman himself wrapped a noose around her neck. So he killed Lois Lane because of this way he was raised and the way he was taught. Same as how hate is not taught, is not born, it is taught. So he was raised to be this way by awful circumstances, and that he's just a broken man. But before they can really do anything about it, something has changed. And as Superman puts it, a billion fractured images, sounds, scents, feelings, entire planetary histories thundered through Amazo's consciousness, pushing even his formidable android mind beyond the brink. We didn't know it then, how could we? But this was the moment when the end of everything began. The next issue is called War of the Supermen. Now I know that I went into detail about my own stuff, but that's welcome to my reviews. I read something and I take it to heart, and I think about how it makes me feel about whatever. And in this is talking about stuff that is important to me. And it might be important to other people. And if you don't like it, you have the right to, you know, say whatever you want about this book as well. Probably means you're in favor of some of the things that I'm not in favor of. But don't hide it. I hate, you know what, these people, they hide their thoughts. They word their words very carefully so that they don't get completely vilified by the public anymore. They've learned from Me Too and other things and how people go after your tweets. Don't be fooled by these people who just try to tell you it's a bad story because it's getting political and it's exposing parts of our world that are ugly. They're just trying to hide their own ugliness and still get likes, views, and subscribes. This is a great book. It's based off of the animated series, and yet somehow, based off of an animated series version of Justice League, it still has points to get across that are important. And it's not just some silly comic book. So anyway, that's Justice League Infinity. Whoops. Everything just freaked out for a second. So anyway, before my computer freaks out anymore, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. If for some reason, and there's a good chance that some of you are not going to like anything that I just said because I'm taking a simple comic book and politicizing it, well, you can go fuck yourself, but I can also give you the last 18-ish minutes of your life back. So if you liked what I said here, go ahead, put on some sunglasses or look away, and if you are sensitive to light, hit the floor because we're going to give these people hopefully a better, more kind, easily more palatable little nugget of a memory that's so much better than reminding them of how shitty the world is and how whatever. Here's a better memory for the fuckers who didn't like what I had to say.
What about the whole secret identity thing? I mean, I trust you guys, but I'm not sure I'm ready to...
Wally West, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne.
Show off.